Welcome to Remainders, where we talk about all the movies that remain. My name is Patrick, and today we're going to be talking about a pretty special one, John Carpenter's The Thing. We are beginning our October series of 80s horror remakes of 50s movies, so I'm very excited for this. With me is the handsome man with the Cubs hat on today, Darren Varel, the man I traded multiple John Carpenter and Kurt Russell movies on DVD back in the day at our Suncoast era. Darren, how excited are you for The Thing?
Very excited. You know, it dawned on me. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I don't think we've ever covered a John Carpenter film. I mean, we've talked about the original Halloween, you know, when we did our Halloween movies ranked. Yeah, but we definitely have not covered a John Carpenter movie, and that is mind-blowing to me. This is the 80th episode, and John Carpenter has escaped.
I see what you did there.
Yeah,
I see what you did there. So.
It escaped from Remainders. Right. Somehow this is the first time we're talking about a John Carpenter movie, and it's a perfect one to talk about, especially starting October 1st here and getting into spooky season, as they call it.
I'm always excited for spooky season. My favorite time of the year. Unfortunately, it's 80 fucking degrees here in Chicago in October. Say what you want about global warming. It sucks either way. So I'm ready for fall weather and to watch all these horror movies with you. So,
well, it's good baseball weather. And as you can see, I am wearing my Cubs gear today. Unfortunately,
I hear the helicopters right now. I'm right here in Wrigleyville, and I hear the helicopters been covering the last couple of days. And unfortunately, they lost today.
They lost today. Yeah, but that's the cool thing is that like we're in the midst of October baseball and you're like right down the street. Yeah, the game just ended like, I don't know, maybe an hour ago. So, there's a lot of disappointed and probably a slightly hungover Cubs fans billowing out of the stadium right now, I'm sure.
The bars open at 7, I heard. So they've been opening at 7 a.m. here in my neighborhood.
Unbelievable. John Barleycorn's still over there. That's the place probably people are over there at 7 a.m. I could see that.
That's a good question. I don't know if that one's still there. So
yeah, those bars, they've all kind of changed. But anyway, back to the movies here.
Yes, we've never covered a Carpenter. I don't think we've covered a Kurt Russell. That's the thing about our podcast is that like all these movies are so clearly our favorites that we're more kind of in tune with picking the ones that maybe people have seen less of.
And right. So I would be like, even with Kurt Russell, like we haven't covered Tombstone, really? Like we haven't covered Big Trouble in Little China. Like what's going on here?
I mean, these are all givens, so we'll get to them Sunday for sure. But our priority has been more of the ones that need a little bit more attention. But we will get to it, and we slowly are getting to it. Like I said, we're covering The Thing here. Maybe just a little sneak preview. We'll be covering the 80s Jeff Goldblum Cronenberg The Fly, and then also 80s remake of The Blob. So all three of my favorite horror movies from the 80s, three of the favorite horror movies from the 80s, but they're all remakes of 50s movies. So that's going to be kind of the reoccurring theme for this all of October. So
how did you come to that? Like you just remembering that these films existed that way, or because I guess October we kind of curate a little bit more of what we cover.
Yeah, I mean, you and I are just big horror movie fans, so it kind of comes out naturally that way.
Yeah.
But with those three movies, I mean, I'm not the first one to point that out at all, but all three of them are remakes of classic 50s movies, and in my opinion, all three are better than the originals, and they all focus on practical effects in a way that showcases the 80s horror as a era in film that will never be forgotten. And these are just three prime examples of that. So
it's kind of perfect timing too, because today Criterion did release that they've got a John Carpenter curated
nice
list of movies. And then also I saw The Fly was added as well. So most of the movies that we'll be covering, I didn't see The Blob, but there was some body horror stuff in there. So maybe it'll be added. I don't know. But either way, going to be a great time for scary movies here this October.
And I mean, not to get too ahead, we will talk about it. You recently watched The Fly for the first time. Is that right?
Yeah, it was last year for sure. I think it was last year around Halloween. I can't recall exactly, but it was, semi recently. Yeah.
And have you seen The Blob?
I've seen the one with Steve McQueen, so the 50s version.
Okay.
But I
You've
have
never seen
not
the
seen
80s?
no, I have not seen the 80s version.
All right. We got a lot of good discussion this whole month then, so we'll get to that. So
Cool.
Today is all John Carpenter and Kurt Russell and The Thing. So this is a pivotal movie for me. This is one of the movies that made me fall in love with movies as a child. I was thinking about it yesterday. I could count on three fingers, basically a series of films: Goodfellas, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the films of John Carpenter and Kurt Russell. Watching these movies as a child, these are head and shoulders above all the other movies that made me fall in love with movies as a kid. So this one's definitely very special for me. So looking forward to hearing your reaction and kind of your experience. I know I actually probably haven't talked about it too much. I actually don't know when you first saw The Thing and kind of where you stand on it. Like, I know, I'm sure you love it, but where has it, like, what's your kind of general, history with The Thing?
Well, you and I have definitely never talked about The Thing, like in any kind of,
not in depth.
Not in any kind of depth before. It's always been something where you'd be like, oh yeah, the thing, blah, blah, blah. But like, even like,
it's almost like so obvious that it's great that we kind of glaze over it. And you and I have always talked about like kind of Big Trouble in Little China.
Exactly. Like the Kurt Russell movies that seem to be always more on our mind are the ones where he's a little over the top as a character, Then like definitely people that have seen Big Trouble would agree that that's a little over the top Kurt Russell. But, The Thing isn't something that I was like going back to all the time. I hadn't seen it like 80 times, like I'm sure you have. I've definitely seen this film before we watched it for the podcast, but I'd say maybe a handful of times, maybe 3 might be pushing it before this. And sometimes I think there's like, times when it would be on TV and I just caught it halfway through kind of thing. This was a really fun watch because I watched it with the lens of like knowing how much you love it and just all the things over time we've heard about the similarities between this and Hateful Eight, Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight. And you've talked about that. I'm sure you're going to talk about that on this podcast. But it was cool because I got to watch it with like those things that have been roaming around my brain in the last couple of years since I've seen it. And man, yeah, lots to talk about. Lots of paranoia in this film. Also,
if there's one word to describe this movie, it's paranoia.
So it really is. Yeah. And also like love knowing that there is like a connection in general that we're covering this on October 1st. And like the original Thing is shown on TV, if you recall, in the original Halloween, which is pretty cool that eventually down the line, we got John Carpenter covering it and redoing it.
Yeah. There's so many ins and outs. Yeah. I mean, like, as I kind of briefly mentioned, this was one I would see on TV a little bit, probably around 11 or 12 years old, maybe even a little bit earlier. Sci-Fi Channel.
Like HBO or something? Oh, Sci-Fi Channel. Okay.
Sci-Fi Channel, I'd say, yeah. It would just pop up and it would be something I would kind of catch and maybe not watch all the way through. But my young mind was like, this movie looks insane.
That makes sense, right? Because like the Thing would be an alien, yeah?
You mean showing it on the Sci-Fi Channel?
Well, I'm just saying, like, the Thing is an alien.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're going with this, though.
Well, because Sci-Fi Channel would show stuff more about aliens. And
Okay. You're saying why it was on the Sci-Fi. Yeah. Sci-Fi Channel was pretty diverse. They went all over it. Yeah. I just remember that being the channel it would show up on. And then the first time that I watched this movie all the way through was on Halloween in 8th grade with my best friend, Andy, who lived across the street from me. He's probably listened to the podcast. He loves listening to the podcast because Andy, more than anybody, thinks I have the worst taste in movies of all time. And he's let me know that our entire friendship ever since middle school. So he's an avid listener to always hear my opinions. Because do
you think, does he like The Thing?
I'm sure he likes The Thing. So
I was going to say, you guys at least have some common ground there.
Yeah. So I'm sure he's going to have some feedback for us. But yeah, watching it on Halloween, that was kind of like, we were basically getting to the age where we're no longer trick-or-treating. It was like 7th grade, I'm going to guess. And so we went to Video Town. That was our V8. That was our rental spot just down the street in Lombard, Illinois. Rented The Thing. And that's where we watched on Halloween. And I still remember sitting in that living room watching it for the first time. Like I said, all the way through, I'd seen scenes from it, but experiencing that for the first time was one of the kind of like formative movie going experiences.
So what struck you at first, as a young man kind of on his own? Like, I like that you're in that transition of you can't go trick or treating, so
this movie is very different now watching as an adult, and we'll get into that. But yeah, it was like we were no longer trick or treating as kids, but so we're just going to chill at home and watch horror movies. But
I mean, you're getting older and you're able to watch a movie like this. I was going to say, like, you're probably not exactly the age that's ready to watch The Thing. Like, your parents probably wouldn't have like allowed you to at that age, but like you're growing up enough to like start to see movies on your own with your friend. Whether you guys like had a sleepover on Halloween and stayed up all night. And probably no liquor at that point, but at least you were drinking Coca-Colas and watching The Thing, which is, I love that shit,
Oh yeah. I mean, some of the best memories for sure. So
yeah.
My initial reaction to the movie in general, aside from the experience, was I still vividly remember the aesthetics. I obviously wouldn't have called them the aesthetics at the time, but just the fact that it was like a snow setting with all these slimy creatures. I mean, at a young age, I was very much taken with, as a lot of people were, with practical effects.
Fucking flamethrowers,
Yeah. I mean, just the practical effects of this movie, something like Tremors, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I mean, just the practical effects of 80s horror movies are so unique. And just me seeing it at a young age was always very influential in my movie taste, as most people that I've talked movies with have kind of gathered. So, yeah, I mean, that was my first time watching it. And yeah, I've been hooked. I didn't quite put the connection of a Kurt Russell and Carpenter movie until a few years later, kind of fully appreciating in high school, like what a director does. Oddly enough, Escape from LA was kind of the movie that made me realize like what a true, like connecting a director, basically me understanding like, oh, this is John Carpenter doing Escape from LA. That's the same director as The Thing. This is what a director does. So that's why you should check out the best directors and see all the best movies that they make. So yeah, a really formative one. Let's just say that. So we'll keep on getting into it. But that was my first experience.
Would this be
will always be memorable.
In your recollection, is this your first John Carpenter film that you had seen ever?
I had seen Halloween before. Yeah. But like I said, I certainly didn't view it as like a John Carpenter movie at the time, but I just knew that movie existed and I had seen it before. So yeah. And then slowly through high school, largely trading, like I said, trading the DVDs at Suncoast. Carpenter and Kurt Russell were big favorites in our era of Suncoast. And so gathering all that.
It's kind of cool because it's like, you go and you work in a movie theater like that. It's kind of like you're an asshole if you don't like John Carpenter. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be caught dead being the person who says, I don't know who John Carpenter is, like you learn really quickly who he is because you don't want to be the one person in the group that doesn't know anything about one of the coolest directors. I always felt like we always kind of were on the same page like that. We never had to pretend, but it is that atmosphere when you're at like a movie store like that and you're like, oh my God, you've never heard of this, or even like now with Paul Thomas Anderson's movie, doing really well in the theaters right now. Like if you're like, you've never seen a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, what are you, some kind of freak, it's cool that directors kind of can, if you're good, a director can get to that level where it's like, you need to know.
Yeah. No, I mean, that brings up an interesting question. Cause like, so you're talking, so what was it? This is like 2001, 2002, largely around, that was kind of like the prime era when you and I were working together at the video store. And yes, in our enclave, in our bubble, working at video stores, it was expected to know John Carpenter and The Thing, but The Thing was a huge bomb when it came out in 1982. It was not popular at all. And it slowly gained, and that's kind of like, going into like what's interesting about this movie is how it's gone from a bomb to widely regarded as like not just one of the best horror movies of all time, but like one of the best movies of all time.
That would be within 20 years, huh?
And I had a realization last night. So I watched this. So when I was saying the first time I watched it, it was around 98, right? So that was only 16 years after the movie came out. 98 was 27 years ago now. So the fact that there's so much more of a gap now between current state and my first time watching it, and then there was when watching it and it first came out, blows my mind. So, but yeah, I mean, the movie was a bomb, and it's really gained notoriety over time. And so when you and I were working at Suncoast, it was a cult movie still. Like, it wasn't really that popular. It was popular amongst cinephiles for sure. People who watch movies all the time, but like, it still wasn't that much of a, staple. I still remember this book I had as a kid. It was called 4-Star Movies You Probably Never Heard of. And The Thing and Escape from New York were both in it. So it was it was literally just in it because there were cult movies that most people had never really watched or anything. So, well,
I mean, the advent of so this is 82, and the advent of VHS, I'm sure, really ballooned the popularity of this. You could go rent it at your local Hollywood Video, Blockbuster, or like you said, the mom and pop video store that existed in your hometown. That really did a lot for these movies to have a new audience once they were
absolutely.
Out theaters. I mean, that's the thing, is like, it's hard to remember, like, I don't know how many weeks it spent in the theaters, but like, also how big was the release? This is pretty I wouldn't think that this was a huge release. It's not like it was a blockbuster or something.
Well, I think it was a pretty popular release. It just didn't do well at the box office. Like, it was the same. I mean, this is a pretty unique year, 82 for sci-fi. You got E.T., you have The Thing, which wasn't popular when it first came out. You have Blade Runner. It was a pretty like pivotal year for like sci-fi and alien stuff. So
E.T. the same year. Wow.
Yeah, and then the fact that this movie was often panned. I mean, Ebert gave it 2.5 stars, was not a huge fan of it, but only okay on it. So it wasn't really that well received. We'll get into more Hateful Eight stuff, but the score from Ennio Morricone was nominated for a Razzie for worst score.
Wow.
Which, turn of a switch, I actually didn't even realize that the Hateful Eight won Best Original Score, and the unused parts of Ennio Morricone's score from The Thing were used in the Hateful Eight. So the movie went from being nominated for a Razzie when it first came out in The Thing to the score getting an Oscar for the unused parts later when the Hateful Eight came out. So
it's amazing.
Fucking so good. Yeah. So like I said, like, it just wasn't it was a wide release for sure. It was a popular mainstream movie. It was like a big budget movie. And that's pretty, aside from a Halloween, Carpenter's always had moderate success to bombs. Most of his movies have never really done that well, like initially in release, aside from Halloween, but they've all become like absolute classics since then. So.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't like a low budget movie either, with all the things you had to do. Like, but most films of his, at least early films, you would say that they could be looked at as done on a really, really low budget. Like Halloween, half of the thing is like, you had such success by making a movie that inexpensively, it's all profit after that.
Yeah, I mean,
and he showed people he could do that. That's
what's unique about Carpenter, is that he started as an indie filmmaker that was very much low budget. I mean, Halloween was like one of the most successful independent low budget movies of all time for a long time. And his 80s run was fueled on that with bigger budgets, but most of them not, even coming close to the success of Halloween. So not that it matters. It's just they weren't initially a lot of successes, and that's the testament of cult movies and the enduring status of like what's actually good and stays in the mind of people. So,
well, I got to ask you: had you seen the original Thing? You have, but probably after you had seen this.
Yeah, but not long after, because I remember my father and uncle talking about, because they watched the original Thing as a kid.
Yeah,
because they knew that I was watching this version as a kid, loving it, and I think they had me watch some of it at the time. Because they recognized that it was more of like a cheesy B movie. Like, it was not like a well-regarded. It's like James Arness. It was very different. He basically plays like a vegetable monster. It has nothing to do with like the shape-shifting and the taking over of impersonating the characters or anything. This remake is more in line with the Who Goes There story by Campbell, the original novella. But the 50s remake was just kind of like a schlocky B horror movie with James Arness. So it's cool. Like, it's got a good ambience. I haven't watched it in like a good 10, 15 years, but it's not bad, but it's, certainly, in line with this whole series. The remake is substantially better. So
cool. Yeah. I've never seen it.
It's fun. I mean, you probably would get a lot out of the black and white vibe,
Yeah. I like those old B movies too,
I know you just soak it up, and I mean, it is beautiful. I mean, horror I'll get behind. Horror I'll watch any era, especially older ones. I mean, I love. I think film came into its own for sure in the 70s, but horror movies that you've shown us, like Haxan, I mean, these are some of the best movies of all time, and it's largely because the aesthetics of horror translates so well, especially in that pre-era with sound and everything. So
yeah, and it's like so relatable all the time. So. Any era, you're scared, like that's great cinema.
Yeah, and like I said, the aesthetics, like the visuals, like something like Haxan, just like is an absolute piece of art that's only going to continue to get better because of the way it looks and just like the aesthetics of it. So, but yes, 50s horror movies like The Thing from Another World is a little bit different, but definitely a good time capsule of itself. So
how do you know how it evolved into like what they made? Who's responsible for the shape shifting part of it? Do you know much about that? Or, I mean, clearly the writers, right?
But, what do you mean?
Well, because like now, John Carpenter decides to cover and make a remake of The Thing, but I don't know much about why he chose to do that. Like, was he a huge fan of that movie and thought like, I can make this better and change it to shape-shifting aliens, that are...
Well, yeah, like I said, so this is the original story is called Who Goes There from John W. Campbell. It was a novella, so not quite a novel, a little bit longer than a short story. That's what this is based. So that was the original novella. They adapted it technically in the 50s with The Thing from Another World, but they didn't really take any of the alien impersonating storyline of it.
So that is in the novella then, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's all they say. Like the 50s movie came out. It was not really like the original story. This one that we're talking about right now, John Carpenter's, is far more faithful to Who Goes There, which is 100% about an alien taking over the characters, and it's all about paranoia. So that's why he leans into the paranoia. That's what the original short story is very much about. And I think it was written in the 50s at the height of, McCarthyism, which is,
right.
The theme of what it like comes out of, like who can you trust, who's going to fuck you over, who's going to destroy your life, and that's what bores all the information that comes into this one that we're watching now. So. Awesome. And Carpenter was a huge fan. He loved the original. Like he loved, 50s horror movies. So he just wanted to remake it because it was a movie that he loved. He just ended up making it far more closer to the original story as opposed to just remaking the James Arness one. So,
yeah. And what a great choice for the lead actor in this remake, Kurt Russell.
I mean, what did we say about Kurt Russell? I feel like we've been talking about Kurt Russell our whole lives, and it's just like, he was the man in the Suncoast days, and that's just kind of I feel like it's only gained more notoriety since then. So,
well, another guy who also kind of, he studied with Walt Disney, for crying out loud. He was a Disney actor, and came up that way, and then all of a sudden is doing these movies and is getting notoriety, really for doing these kind of the characters that he played were so interesting and different than your leading Hollywood actor type. You've got like a lot of
Snake Plissken,
and a manly guy, but at the same time kind of goofy. He's got this kind of dummy kind of character.
The man's got range for sure.
Yeah,
like these early ones was him. Like Snake Plissken is him 100% being like, I'm not that Disney kid actor anymore. Like that was like, I think he's like intentionally said that. It was like, that was him. Obviously he had worked with Carpenter again, but like, it was him like intentionally shedding his whole entire childhood persona of just being like the G golly Hollywood actor. I mean, he was making those Disney movies like through his teenage years.
Yeah.
Short music stint. I know he's got a couple records out there trying to become a pop star in the 60s and 70s. And then John Carpenter comes and makes him immortal with just an eye patch. So,
I mean, and a sombrero in this movie.
And a sombrero with this one, which is the absolute star of that scene.
Yeah.
I still remember when I had my sister watch this for the first time, that was the number one thing she texted me. It's like, what is going on with the sombrero? So that was
he mentioned that Kurt Russell mentioned that at the Walk of Fame ceremony or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was a fun story.
Carpenter getting the stars just this year for the first time, right?
It's always those things though too. Like, okay, like it's like a joke, you're gonna wear the sombrero, and then that's the thing everybody thinks about when they think about the character wearing the fucking sombrero. But
that's just such perfect Carpenter touches. The way that he makes like just these little things that just are a little bit off. I was looking at The Physician. He's got like this nose ring. I don't know if you noticed that.
No,
it's really subtle, but the physician has a nose ring, and it's just like so perfectly manly but flamboyant at the same time. So it like, and the sombrero, it's just little touches of like 50s kind of Western vibes. I don't know, but like it's with Carpenter's signature stuff, and that's what makes his movie so.
So everybody who's listening to this, I'm sure, has seen this film, and I think one of the biggest parts about this film is like all the characters. Like you said, there's this doctor with a nose ring. There's a lead character with a sombrero, but they're stuck in the middle of like the Ice Age. Basically, it's like they're in the coldest part of the world, and they kind of have to hunker down, and they're doing this work. I don't really know what kind of work they're doing, but they like can't go anywhere. They're cut off from the outside world. It's cold as hell. Or I shouldn't say cold as hell, but it's freezing. And now all of these characters are stuck together. And I think that's like one of the best parts about this, because all of these characters are so good together. It's like a great group of people. Like we talked earlier when you sent that picture of Wilford Brimley, it's like, that guy, like in a same movie with Kurt Russell. Really cool cast.
I mean, yeah, it's in Antarctica. It's in the middle of nowhere, on a research center. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if I've actually ever.
It's not important. It's not important.
Yeah. No, it's not. But I mean, for as many times as I've watched this, I don't think I've ever actually fully dived in and understood. If I did, I just didn't remember.
Right. Like, are they drilling for oil or, you don't really know. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't seem to be drilling for oil, although they might be. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm sure it's actually kind of obvious if you think about it, but it's never been one that I've fully.
But again, I don't think because I didn't pick it up either, and I just don't think it matters. It's just like these guys happen to be doing some job out there. It's like the MacGuffin, right? It's like MacGuffins usually are nothing. They're not. You don't even know what they are, but there's something important that carries the story along.
Right. I mean, we could just. I mean, they are doing. It's just high level research. I mean, I'm just going to name off some of the titles. What's going on? I mean, McCready is the helicopter pilot. You have a biologist. You have a mechanic, a physician, a geologist, a meteorologist, a dog handler, the station commander, and an assistant biologist. So they are just basically doing just high level research of Antarctica and sending it back to humanity. So
the dogs too is like so important to this film as well. Like you got a dog handler, but it's kind of like, what do you need the dogs to do? Like they're not really bringing you around on like a cart or anything like that. Like, but there's a shitload of dogs. There's in this kennel inside.
Yeah, what are the dogs doing? That is interesting that you just take all this stuff for granted in movies that you've seen multiple times, and that's the beauty of movie making. It's like you just accept it sometimes and you don't question it.
Well, I'm sure the fact that those dogs would be in Alaska or whatever, because they have those Iditarods and those races and stuff like that, but you never see like their purpose in this film, at least.
No. I'm sure smarter people could name why they're there, but I'm not one of them. So
maybe we got a couple people listening to this that could fill us in.
The isolation aspect. I mean, these are all characters that willingly go to Antarctica for months at a time in isolation to do their work. It takes a certain type of person to do that. I mean, this is obviously a different world. This is 1982, so like just the way work kind of was, it's a little bit different. But like, if you sign up to go, 6 months a year, even at a station like this in the middle of nowhere, and you're just stuck with this group of people, that takes a certain type of person. And I think that kind of sets almost, I'm not going to say a broken person, but like it does kind of have a isolation oriented vibe that a person would be willing to do.
Yeah, and these guys are kind of like renegades, like that. You know, they kind of cast out in their own way to be out here and kind of survive. And like, of course, you know, well, my understanding is that like there's a never-ending bottle of Jameson that you know you have for like six months because he's drinking
J&B.
Oh, J&B. Sorry, he's drinking whiskey almost every time he's on screen, which is also adds to the coolness of Kurt Russell and his characters. But you know, I mean, here's a bunch of guys that are just
and high and playing ping pong when they're not researching. So
exactly, and you never really see them researching. So that's really what they do out there. But it's good to have all these characters because of the fact that there is an alien that is found in a spaceship as well.
And there is all these things. I mean, we're so enamored with our experience watching this movie that we're not even talking about what's happening in the movie, which I think is all right. So it does start with that J&B, him playing chess. Chess is essentially what this movie is about. It's MacReady playing chess with the alien. So the Norwegians come, they find the research from the Norwegians, learns the Norwegians dug up the alien itself, had its whole thing at their camp, and then they bring the alien back to their camp, to their own American camp. And chaos ensues. That's the
so obviously the
aspect.
Norwegians know that like it took over the dog. That's why the movie opens with them trying to shoot the dog that's running back to the camp. And they know that if it gets back to the camp and like touches any of them or bites them or whatever happens, it's going to transfer this whole thing. And it's going to be an outbreak of this alien shapeshifter in the American camp. And you don't really get, especially if you've never seen the film before, you don't really understand the immediacy of why this guy's trying to kill the dog or like what's happening. But what you just said is like the whole backstory. These guys know, and they found an alien spacecraft and they know what it can do. And that's pretty fucking devastating what they did to that Norwegian camp.
That dog gives one of the best dog performances in film ever. Yeah. There's so many good nuances. I mean, it starts with, so the dog is back in the American camp. Kurt Russell goes back to the Norwegian camp. That's when they find the corpse and they bring it back. And you see this shot where the dog is just looking out as MacReady's coming back with the corpse. The dog, I mean, at some point you kind of realize that the dog is an alien or something going on. And so the dog's just staring out the window at MacReady bringing the corpse back. He's like, oh, he's bringing the other thing that's going to show him like what's actually happening right now. So, and then the slow pauses of when the dog is just walking around the camp, like it almost has this evil kind of like almost human, like just with intention, like that he's walking around like trying to find his next victim, like, but not in like an animal way, in like a thinking beast way. So
and even in those scenes, it's really chill, which I think is like kind of the spookiest part about it, because he's just like walking through as they're playing ping pong and stuff. And it's allowed to roam free as the dog,
Yeah. And infamously, the scene when the dog walks up and you see a shadow of a man, you don't see this face, but you see the shadow of the man turn his head, and then the scene just goes shut. So that's clearly the dog taking its first victim. And the shadow of the man his hair is so obviously not like anybody that you see in the movie, which is intentional.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so obvious. And that's 100% intentional, is that like he took a victim for sure, but you're not going to know who it is. There's no way you're going to know what it is because nobody has hair like that. So just as a director, his choice to do that is like, this is just one of the 100 ways that you can read so many aspects of like, who's the thing, who got infected, at what point did they get infected. There's multiple theories on this movie about that, and you can read it many different ways, and we'll get into a couple of them though. So
well, let's go. I want to hear it.
Well, my biggest one is Blair. So Blair is the Wilford Brimley. He's the great Wilford Brimley. He's the senior biologist. He's the first one to kind of discover and basically lay out the plot of the movie of what this thing is that he takes over after the dog scene, the amazing kennel scene with all the dogs, and they get all infected, and they get intervene with the flamethrower, and then Blair is giving out the understanding of what this thing is, and that it's an alien life form. It impersonates people and then just absorbs them, basically. And so Blair, it's my biggest question is, and this is a big fan theory, is at what point does Blair become the thing? Because he essentially tries to sabotage the helicopter and the radio. Kurt Russell locks him up for the rest of the movie. You check him in on him halfway through that. He's got the noose right there. He's ready to kill himself. And then at the end, it's clear that he was building the spaceship. So at what point did he become the thing? Which is a contentious, not contentious, but you can read it in either way. It's he was immediately absorbed in the thing, and he was the one trying to sabotage the helicopter and the radio, or he didn't become the thing until well after he was locked up.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. I almost view it as he became it well after, almost somehow it got into that little bunker that he was locked up in.
Which again, there's this movie is so well fucking made that there's no definitive answers to anything, and that's what makes it great.
Yeah.
Until you see somebody getting killed or see somebody become the thing, then that's your answer. But everything else is a little squishy. So the Blair aspect, I personally think, I don't know. I almost like the idea that he became the thing pretty early on. And that when he was the alien life form, he was the one trying to destroy the helicopter to keep him there, because that way he could just isolate themselves and build a spaceship and leave. But it does make total sense that he was the human form. He knew the danger of letting the thing out into the world and getting out. So he was going to demolish communication. And then he was understanding the immediacy of that. And so he was willing to hang himself with that noose while he's still stuck in the shed.
Yeah, seemingly doesn't really. You're right. You really don't know, and it's interesting.
And that's what I don't want. You don't want a definitive answer. That's exactly what makes this movie so fucking great.
I mean, that's the thing too. Is you don't even know that he's building any kind of tunnel or anything like that until way end of the movie. Which is you're kind of know that he's gone crazy, and he's trying to sabotage stuff or trying to hurt people, but he's not he hasn't shifted or anything like that. So he's still Wilford Brimley the whole time. And you're just kind of okay, well, that makes sense. Maybe he could go crazy because like you said, it's cut off from the world, and that's already nuts because you're here for 6 months. But now there's this added layer of but we're also dealing with an alien life form that's out to get us, So of course he's gonna go fucking nuts.
Another fan theory involves two at the end. Did you have a strong reaction on whether Mac or Childs was the thing at the very end?
You mean at the very end, how it ends exactly like Hateful Eight, where they're just both basically going to die and they're sitting there?
Just one of the 1,000 similarities that Hateful Eight.
Yeah, totally. But that, I was oh my God. Because, again, I'm watching with that lens. And I know you'll probably talk about some of the similarities in a minute, so I won't get into it too much. But
I actually don't have that much more. We'll put a link to a YouTube video that I absolutely love. It's just a side-by-side physical comparison of the Hateful Eight and the Thing, and it just shows so many similarities that I can't even comprehend it. Also, but
yeah, well, that's the thing. And so you're saying at the end, is it implied that one of them is the Thing at the end there?
Well, that's they don't know. I mean, they're both sitting there together. So Childs was gone for a long time. It is possible that Mac at some point was infected too. You don't, as the viewer, you don't know if either of them are the Thing. I mean, you did just watch Mac destroy the Thing, but one thing no pun intended, that I remember from the commentary, the great Kurt Russell, John Carpenter commentary from the original DVD back in the day, is they talked about like whether or not you actually even know if you're the thing. If you're infected, if you even know that you're infected, and whether or not your consciousness understands you're the thing until
that's a good point. Yeah.
So it's like they talked about like they had conversations all through the night while making the movie. It's like, and that just influenced like their ambivalence on like to give any definitive answers. It's like, when you're the thing, do you even know you're the thing? It's just like blows your mind. So that's why that end scene is like so impactful. It's like they don't know who they can trust, and they're just staring at each other, and the movie just ends like that. So I just thought, like, if you had any strong reactions to that.
No,
like,
not really. And honestly, I had never thought that. I thought, okay, cool. They're gonna really, what was taking place in my mind is like, well, this is like at least satisfying knowing that they killed the thing, but they're both going to die too. Like they're not going to survive this. Like, so I didn't really think the thing was still around anymore, but there must be chatter online about this.
Well, I mean, that's the beauty of it. It's like, the movie ends appropriately as paranoia. It's like not knowing whether or not one or the other are infected.
At that point, it doesn't really matter because they're sharing like liquor and they're like, fuck this, like we're going to freeze to death. But like right now, at least we're warm and seemingly out of danger.
Well, that is one theory, is that Kurt Russell gave Childs a Molotov cocktail instead of actual JB, because he showed him making the Molotov cocktail with the JB bottle before. And he gives Childs the drink to see if he drinks it. Takes a drink, doesn't react to it.
Then he laughs.
Yeah, and then Kurt Russell laughs. But like, so if Childs is drinking a Molotov cocktail and doesn't even react, he's obviously the thing.
Yeah, because he's not like choking or whatever. Yeah.
If it was human, he would absolutely be reacting to it, not like he was drinking JB. So that's one theory about it. The other one that I've always kind of noticed, and it is pretty prominent, you absolutely see Kurt Russell's breath through that entire scene, the entire end scene, but you do not see Child's breath until the very end of that scene. So you see a little bit at the end, but like for like the first like several interactions of dialogue, you see Kurt Russell's breath coming out as a human. You do not see any like breath coming out of Child's mouth.
Then why show it at all then? Like why show it at the very end if you're not going to show it at any of the other moments?
Why show what? Wait, which part?
His breath. Like, okay, so if Childs doesn't have any breath going, then like you're going to show it though at the end to like really just confuse you more. Is that it?
Yes, of course. That's his entire point. Okay. Carpenter's intent is 100% intention is to like fuck with the viewer of like who's what at what point, and like always keeping you guessing. So yeah, whether or not that was intentional, that part was intentional. That could have been just like a technical mishap, like while making the movie, that they just didn't show his breath that much. But that is just a prominent theory that's pretty hard to ignore, like once you notice it though. So
well, if we could roll back just a little bit, because we're at the end of the film, but like I want to talk a little bit about the special effects, which I'm sure
we're talking ideas, so we're bouncing all over it for sure.
Well, yeah, but I also want to hear a little bit about don't forget about those Hateful Eight moments that about, because I want to hear that too. But I also think it's really important at this point to say like, holy shit, like the movie really captivates you too, of like seeing the thing. The main thing that I think is like when you first see that happen in the kennel. So when the one dog is infected and it kind of, for lack of a better word, it kind of like spontaneously combusts into the thing, and it's got those things like shooting off, and they're like little like antennas going and trying to get the other dogs, and they're fucking jumping and they're howling. I mean, that is a terrifying scene, terrifying. And they're like, and I'm the whole time I'm like, get the fuck out of there, dogs, get the fuck out of there. One is like biting basically through the chain link fence, like trying to get out. It's an insane scene, and it shows you just how fucked up like these people they're in trouble. I mean, still lack of a better word.
Yeah, that's the scene that's my Al Pacino meme scene when he just leans back. What a picture. That's always the scene when I'm just like, oh my god, it's so good. So Rob Bottin is the head of the makeup for this movie and the special effects. He's kind of like the main guy for it. absolutely groundbreaking. I mean, there's a reason why this movie was gaining traction all through the 80s and the 90s, and the special effects were like a huge part of it. And that is just like an art form, as I've mentioned just a couple of times. It's why 80s horror movies are going to be remembered prominently in film history for like ever. It'll just, because it's such a unique time of a craft in film, the craft of practical effects, especially in 80s horror, is never going to happen again in film. It's never going to be like the mainstream industry standard for these types of like practical effects to be in movies. People will like do their own thing. Like, oh, I want to make a movie that is specifically homaging this, so I'm going to use practical effects. They'll do that, but it's never going to be the industry standard of which it was at the time in the 80s.
Yeah, you're not going to just do a whole movie, because it's too expensive, because it's too long, it's too painstaking. But also, I agree with you. I was watching Beetlejuice the other day, and granted, this is Tim Burton. I liked it too. And I saw it, last year, but on rewatch, I was like, oh my God, like they're talking about Jeffrey Jones. And I guess I forgot the way that they treated his death, cause like Jeffrey Jones, of course, has had some legal issues, and they talk about like they basically, they basically
animation thing. So
yes, you remember. Okay. Yeah. So like that clearly is still like, used. Wes Anderson uses claymation all the time and different things like that, and so does obviously Tim Burton. So it was a very Tim Burton move, but you don't see that very often, And I watched when that Fargo show was out with John Hamm, I guess it was last year. We went to one of those Academy panels like to vote for it, and they had this whole talk about how they used that specific style and technique to kind of like use claymation and animation, because when they went back and talked about like abuse and different things like that, they're like, well, we didn't want to show it, but like we wanted to get the idea across. And so like when you use claymation, it kind of dulled it a little bit, but still showed the horror of it. And I kind of like that. Like, I think things like this will be used for that reason. They're different, but using practical effects are used for a reason now, to kind of give a feeling of something instead of it being a full on movie, because that's all they've got. Like, I think now it's used specifically for, a vibe, for lack of a better word, in a movie.
A nostalgia vibe.
Yeah. Or just like, not even nostalgia. I'm kind of saying like sometimes I think it shows things maybe in a more horrific way. That way,
I mean, so I completely agree with that. It's just the difference is that that's all they had in the 80s.
Well, right.
So the fact that it became such a craft as a result of that, that's kind of just what's lost. So there will be a craft that's available, but never a craft that's the industry standard in film. So
right, you don't talk these days about like the Tom Savinis or Greg Nicoteros. Like those guys, they're 80s icons for that reason. But like there's nobody like that now, at least not that I know of, that you're talking about, that is doing practical effects like that.
Or the Rob Bottin's, also of RoboCop and Total Recall. So kind of certainly a legend in my eyes for sure. So so we could stay on the kennel scene because I have merchandise spotlight. So I got my action figure set that I've had for 20 years.
Oh, we got to see that.
The Suncoast days. So this is absolutely my biggest like nerd piece that I've ever had. So because it is special, I got it at Suncoast when I was, a huge fan of The Thing.
God damn, I didn't even know we sold that.
It was either Suncoast or I might have gotten it from Sam Goody. There was often like an exchange of merchandise from our sister store. So it was just one of those. But either way, I got it in the days of that. And I've held on to it since then because I love it. And I've been getting it signed by the cast of The Thing over 20 years. And even just 6 months ago, I added another signature from Peter Maloney, who played Bennings from it. So I'm going to pull it on.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're not watching and just listening, Pat is about to. Oh, and he's bringing it on screen right now. This is beautiful.
So you can see this is Soda Toys, a popular toy brand at the time for movies. You see MacReady in the kennel, with the thing and the poor dog getting shot. So this is an absolute
That's
beautiful
fucking
set.
amazing that was sold. I mean, that is amazingly put together. And you clearly, and that's probably going to be hard to find now, I think.
Last time I looked, just a regular one was like $300 on eBay, but that was years ago. So I don't even know. But mine, however, as you can see right here, this is John Carpenter. He was one of the ones I first wanted to have sign it.
Did he say anything when he saw it? Was he like, "Oh, it's cool"?
I'm sure they've seen it multiple. I mean, these guys do these conventions. They're all super nice, but they're just like, yeah, I've seen everything. There's like, all these people obsessed with all these fucking horror nerds obsessed with the movie that I made 40 fucking years ago. So
totally.
So Carpenter on the front, just kind of keep on swiveling. We got Keith David here, Childs, Peter Maloney, Bennings. Peter Maloney I just met 6 months ago at a convention here in Chicago. So he was the most recent one. Jack Polis, who played Fuchs. I don't want to call him out, but he spelled dedicated wrong. That's for D. So
dedicated. Yeah, dedicated. Yeah.
Little stuff on the back, just showing some other items that they were Soda was doing. Legend and Dog Soldiers. All right, here we got Thomas Waits, who played Windows. We got Dean Cundey, the cinematographer, famous cinematographer, Jurassic Park, tons of movies through Hollywood all the time. He was the cinematographer of The Thing, so he did one of the conventions. We got Richard Mazer, played Clark, the dog handler, up here. So just going to keep on going.
He's also in It, by the way.
Yes, so good.
Yeah.
Here I got David Clemens, who played Palmer. I originally got this signed. It got smudged that night that I got it signed. So I had to go back after staying in the hotel that night and have him retouch it because it was just, I accidentally smudged it right after he signed it. And then TK Carter, who played Knowles here. So that is my most
everybody listening to this right now is like, holy shit, this is amazing. Where the fuck is Kurt Russell?
Kurt Russell notoriously never does any conventions. He never will. And so unless I become friends with Kurt Russell in the next couple decades, I'm probably not going to get it signed from him. So.
I saw Kurt Russell in person at that Monarch.
Rub it in.
Well, I'm just saying.
You have this on you to get you signed.
I'm just trying to give another little tidbit to what you just mentioned because I saw Kurt Russell in person do an amazing panel. He did that Monarch show, I think more so for his son, to, be into something with his son. And as soon as that panel was over, out the fucking door. He was like not staying around for any of that bullshit. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's got a zero tolerance for just fan culture because he knows, he understands he's a god. He just doesn't want to deal with it. So and I get it. So that's my merchandise spotlight. That is one of my favorite pieces that I've had that I've kept since I was a young lad in high school, and I will probably be buried with that thing. And that's a physical testament to my adoration for the Thing. So
it's a great toy. That's a great looking toy, man. McFarlane used to make those all the time. I never heard of the soda. They were. McFarlane was by far. I got a couple McFarlane Thing toys. They did a couple of Thing action figures. This one was far more elaborate, so it's kind of an offshoot of it. So McFarlane missed out on something elaborate like that. So well, carrying on with that just scene that's in there is of him. He must have had the flamethrower. I didn't see it. Kurt Russell's the action figure. He's got the flamethrower because that's like the most amazing thing. If you think about Tarantino too, like writing Once Upon a Time, because he used the flamethrower to get rid of like that. The setting them on fire is the way to kill the Thing. And like in that scene, it's amazing. He's in a dog kennel with all the straw and everything and hay. And it's like, he's going to use a fucking flamethrower and it sets the whole goddamn place on fire. But of course they do extinguish it like at the end. And that's another thing that I love, like Tarantino, of course, like if you're going to, that line from Jackie Brown, when you absolutely positively have to kill every last motherfucker in the room except no substitute. It's like the fucking baddest ass weapon that you can use to kill something. And of course, I think both John Carpenter and Quentin Tarantino realize you use something badass, which is the flamethrower.
Carpenter definitely made it there first. And yeah, Mac wants the flamethrower is one of the better lines of the movie when Childs is like, Mac wants the what? I think about that all the time. So it's like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, beautiful scene. I mean, these are all scenes that are just so ingrained into my psyche that it's like, it's oftentimes to like difficult to like even like convey more than just simple adoration for them. So yeah.
Well, then you got to move.
Loving that you enjoyed that scene so much.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's scary. That's the thing. Is like this film is scary. You know, there's the paranoia is on its own is scary, and then these things themselves are just fucking terribly gross. The Wilford Brimley like, you know, cutting it open on the table and everything and pulling shit out of there, and yeah, it's terrifying.
So good.
Yeah,
looks so good. I mean, and then I mean, yeah, the kennel scene probably is my favorite like special effects scene, but like the operation scene. So they get to the point where Norris is having a heart attack, and the physician is performing CPR, basically giving the pumps to Norris. Turns out Norris was having it showed Norris having like heart palpitations, and that's kind of a good reason why people sometimes believe you don't even know you're the thing. Norris he's kind of like the what was his why am I forgetting his name now? He was the geologist. He was kind of the frumpy guy with the short orange hair. He's kind of the one that wasn't saying a whole lot. Turns out he was the thing the whole time. So that's what's kind of beautiful about you don't even realize it. So they show him having like heart pains in a couple scenes when he's working together with everybody. And so that's kind of a good like indication that like he didn't even know he's the thing. It's like he's just acting like a complete human, but he's still experiencing pain like a human. Turns out he was the thing the whole time. And so when he finally has a heart attack and the physician is performing on him, that's when we get to the scene when he plunges his hands in there and his stomach opens up and tears off Dyson's hand.
Arms.
So
yeah, that's
Cooper's
amazing.
hands. So
yeah.
And that's kind of like, that's always the scene when like you're referencing the thing. It's like you show him like going up without the hands and he's like screaming, and then it shows the thing coming up with the Norris head and it becomes the spider head at the end, and you get the
incredible
eternal line. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the audience is thinking the whole time too. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Which I'm just going back to this. I didn't even reference. That's what Palmer wrote.
Oh, really?
Right to Patrick, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Palmer. Oh, amazing.
So,
yeah, and that's the one you smudge, you fucking asshole.
I right? Am I telling you? It was just
when he saw that the next day, he's like, "You're an idiot."
I got too excited. I was like, "Ooh." Yes. So that's I kind of almost prefer that scene because it looks so fucking good, and it ends with that little brevity, which is just eternal. So
yeah,
love it.
You know, they got to be laughing so hard when they're like, "Let's make his head turn into like a spider."
I still remember on the commentary, Kurt Russell and John Carpenter just cracking up when they get to that line. I would a little offshoot if you're a younger listener to our podcast, back in the day, basically every movie had commentaries on it when it came out. And that's just not a thing that's like kind of industry standard. It was pretty standard for the actor and or director to do a commentary. And the John Carpenter, Kurt Russell commentaries are some of my favorite things of all time. Just below John Carpenter and Kurt Russell movies are the John Carpenter and Kurt Russell commentaries. So the commentary that they do for Skipper New York, this movie, The Thing, and then Big Trouble in China, fucking the best hangout vibes you will ever have on a movie commentary. You just hear them like lighting cigarettes, cracking beers, laughing about the movie, telling stories. Like it's fucking gorgeous and beautiful just to hang out with these commentaries.
Yeah, you're such a big fan of commentaries. I never really was, but I always liked the fact that I knew my DVD.
It was largely because of these ones I'm talking about. Like having these Kurt Russell and John Carpenter commentaries, that was like the absolute best. I mean, there are tons of boring commentaries for sure, but like when you get good ones, there's nothing better. So,
I mean, and those are the kind of guys you want to hang out too. You know, you want to hang out with guys that are smoking cigarettes and drinking fucking beers while they're watching the movie that they made 40 years ago.
And they're just cracking up. And so when he says you got to be a fucking comedian, they both just like crack up, loving the line. So at their own work. So I love when an artist can just have a good time watching their own shit. So.
Yeah, totally. There's like that one PTA and Mark Wahlberg Boogie Nights thing that I remember, right? Like you broke my dick, that thing. Yeah.
It's been so many years, but I do remember loving the Boogie Nights commentaries. I should revisit those. Those were fucking fantastic.
Well, yeah. And so if you are a younger listener and you don't know much about them, I mean, they are Criterion does a good job of like releasing.
They're still kind of around.
Yeah.
They're just not, it's just almost back in the 2000s, the height of DVDs, like, it was weird not to have the director.
It was a selling point, you know. It was a selling point, and there'd be
not just a selling point. It
right?
was just like they invest because it was such a bigger industry, physical media. It was just made sense for them to add more stuff. So,
well, the craziest thing would be like going to see Lord of the Rings, and then you've got like the sound designer fucking commentary, and then you got the cast, then you've got like the lighting technicians. It was like too much at that point, but yeah.
I've listened to all 4 of those commentaries for all 3 of the Lord of the Rings multiple times, and that's fucking fantastic. All 4 of them are great. So
you can learn so much, of course,
You almost sounded condescending saying that. So
I'm not. Trust me, I know the work that goes into that shit, especially those movies. And
I mean, if you are going to watch 4 different commentaries from a movie, The Lord of the Rings is the one to do it though for it. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the artistry and all of those. It took to make those movies. Like you need everyone.
But yes, but that's all to say. Yes, the hangout vibes of the John Carpenter and Kurt Russell commentaries are something you should seek out if you like these movies at all. So good time.
All right. Well, there is like probably still a fuck ton of shit to talk about with this movie. Like I feel we just
I'm looking through my notes. I
surface.
mean, this is just. I'm looking through my notes if there's anything else. I mean, there's tons of other stuff. Dr. Cooper and Gary with the blood. So the blood, somebody broke into the blood,
like the
refrigerator, the fridge, sabotaged the blood. And this is a great scene where you kind of realize like you can just read it in multiple ways. Because essentially, Dr. Cooper and Gary, as they're talking, like they're the only ones that had access to the refrigerator, and they were both human because you see both of them at some point getting killed by the thing. So at that scene, they were both human. So it's just kind of like a great detail where like there's no definitive answer. It's like they were both human. So something obviously happened where either somebody gained access to the keys or something else. It's just a great way to show the direction of like, you never quite know who's the thing and at what time, and you can read it in multiple different ways. So,
well, that's a good way to talk just quickly about like the similarities of Tarantino's Hateful Eight and this, because that's what you don't really know, like in that film, who the fuck is like the killer, and like, no, everyone's playing each other, and you don't know exactly what's happening. And like you said in the beginning, the paranoia of that film is the same, but also set in the middle of a snowstorm where they can't leave and they're hunkered down into one place where it just builds, and you've got like one person that's like clearly a criminal, but then you've got John Ruth, the hangman, who's like a no good son of a bitch, and like then you've got people that are on like the South Civil War side. Like none of those people are good people, and you don't trust any of them, like as the audience member. But also in that room, nobody really likes each other either, and they don't trust each other. No one wants to fall asleep, no, and it's clearly, I think Tarantino's probably said that this movie inspired him to make that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of like an unofficial genre adaptation. Like, Kill Bill is a clear kung fu like adaptation,
right? And Western.
Grindhouse was a clear grindhouse movie adaptation. I mean, he's always been pretty clear about like where he's drawn inspiration from. But what's interesting about The Hateful Eight is like it's not a clear adaptation of The Thing, but it kind of is at the same time. He makes his own movie for sure, but like it's more of just like a light reimagining of the setting. So yes, the star of like what he's reimagining is Paranoia in an Arctic setting starring Kurt Russell. Like there's just too many similarities just in those three aspects to like be anything else. He's obviously never been shy about his adoration for The Thing. The Ennio Morricone score, as I mentioned, it used unused portions of the score from The Thing. And largely it's technical. There are just multiple shots that are just directly lifted from The Thing, both open with with a character playing chess, and because that just sets the tone for what the entire movie is. It's in The Thing, McCready's playing chess with The Thing, and in Hateful Eight, it's just basically everybody playing chess against each other. And so like that's just like I fucking love it. I love it in Tarantino's filmography as being like a soft genre adaptation rather than an overt one. This just makes it kind of so unique to me. It's always been like one of my like underrated favorites of his, largely because of its relation to The Thing. But you know, most people put it at pretty low on their ranking. Something has to go low. I get that. Tarantino's just kind of, he's never made it a movie that's not great, so something has to be at the bottom. But Hateful Eight often is at the bottom echelon of the rankings.
That's wild.
Something has to go there. So that's the thing. It's like, even if like, and a lot of people, you know, a lot of people have been showing their Paul Thomas Anderson rankings. Something has to go at the bottom if you're going to rank it. So, you know, people look at it and be like, how can that be at the bottom? It's a great movie. And
easy for me. Inherent Vice, Loud Pizza.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so Licorice Pizza, I agree with you. Inherent Vice, I do like quite a bit. So, yeah.
You're not alone. I don't know. There's a couple other fucking idiots out there too.
It's a vibe. You can't argue
bad.
vibes with idiocy. So it's a vibe. You love Paul Thomas Anderson. I guarantee that over the next couple of decades, when we continue to talk about these movies, you're going to revisit Inherent Vice at some point. You're going to be like, oh, this movie is definitely a vibe that I can be on board with.
Oh, it's a vibe. All right. But, well, listen, anyway, let's not get off of the thing. I mean, I'm so happy that we're covering this film because I know how much it means to you. And also, like, I think I got a newfound appreciation for it, seeing it this time, kind of watching it with all the things considering that I mentioned before. But just in general,
which I love to hear, because I did genuinely think this was a little bit more of an essential movie for you. But I love to hear that it wasn't, that it's kind of become.
Not really. And also just in the John Carpenter filmography, it's not like, I think of John Carpenter, I think of The Thing. I think of John Carpenter, I think of Big Trouble in Little China, big time. I think of Halloween, of course, you know, and then probably like Escape from New York and maybe a few other films. But like this one has never been up there with me being like, holy shit, The Thing. And I think now it is. I hadn't seen it in a while. And so like getting to see it, knowing how much you love it, knowing that it's just like kind of like it has grown to what it is and for good reason. And then also knowing that as we look back on like, decades of horror movies, like this is a huge one in the 80s. Like this is a very, very big horror movie that should be like thought about every Halloween when it comes up, that like we got to watch The Thing, you know?
I think it's gotten to that point. You know, we, like I said, it's we've had different trajectories with it, but generally, like I said, it was a bomb. When we were working at Suncoast, it was viewed as like a cult favorite amongst cinephiles. And then another 20 years later, it's become rightfully revered as like one of the best horror movies of all time. So,
I mean, clearly, even if you're buying the toy in like, let's say 2001, 2002, like it had gotten there. I mean, people were making the toys, you know? Yeah.
The toy industry back then was pretty cult heavy. Like they leaned into the DVD era. It was special, man. It's like they were so it was such a big industry that there was room for the nuances of like cult toys like this. So,
but potentially cheaper to get the IP of that as well, because
yeah, I would say so.
Oh, cool. You're going to give like more attention to my movie that no problem. Like I want more people to watch it. That's the point,
Let's see, a couple random stuff. One of my favorite shots is it just creates paranoia. So you remember when Kurt Russell was doing like the memo? He's drinking, he's recording. It's like in the middle of it. He's talking about like nobody trusts anybody anymore. He's recording his memos for
it's like captain's log, basically.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
He's basically making a memo
for when he dies. Yeah,
in case nobody makes it out alive, and some like he found at the Norwegian plant. If somebody finds their plant, so they have a record of what happened. So he's doing that scene. Nobody trusts anybody anymore, and then the scene ends with the camera behind him, like just sitting there. So clearly suggesting that there might be like a person just walking up to him or somebody watching him about to walk in on him. And so the scene ends like that. And then it cuts to MacReady walking. You cut to Fuchs and he's working, and MacReady walks into the doorway, looks both ways, and then starts walking towards Fuchs. It's like the most ominous, like, Kurt Russell has clearly just become the thing. He looks both ways to make sure his sights are clear, and then he's going to go attack Fuchs. I love it. It's such a great way to imply that he becomes the thing, which at some point they think MacReady's the thing because somebody stole his clothes and planted it to suggest that he had been infected.
And at that point, that I got to go back and watch it for that, like those little nuances of like the scenes and obviously direction matters, and these kind of things, but also then thinking about like, I don't know, just like the fact that he is like, maybe he's the thing. And I didn't know, like the whole time I'm like, holy shit, like I would have never thought that, like, cause the audience, when they're telling him you're the thing and they're up against him, the audience is like, fuck you all. That's Kurt Russell. He's not the thing, like, because they're all against him and they're like trying to kill him basically. And he's like, you're rooting for him to get out of that situation, in my opinion.
So, I mean, I've always read it that he's definitely not the thing because he's the one who kills the thing at the end. That's how I've always kind of read it, is like there are fine lines. It's like if you show somebody getting killed by the thing, clearly they were human. Or if you show somebody turning into the thing, clearly they're the thing. Kurt Russell, he's the one who kills the thing. So in my eyes, like that's pretty clear indication that he was human at that point, at least. So So like when it goes back to like the scene I was just describing, that was more of like just John Carpenter showing like expert direction of like, I'm just setting it up to show that like, the audience is going to be thinking he's infected this whole time now. So
right.
Love it. But I don't know, but it is possible. Like maybe you don't know if you are the thing. So maybe there is a nuance where he could have been the thing the whole time.
Blowing my mind.
Ebert thumbs down, Siskel thumbs up, ambivalent thumbs up, but they were just okay on it. Siskel and Ebert, we love them here. They did a shit job with 80s horror movies. They fucking hated 80s horror so much. There's so many great scenes of them just shitting on classic horror movies. It was the only kind of thing of their career where I'm like, you guys didn't do a great job with that. So they were okay on this movie. One thing I've always thought that this would be a fucking awesome double feature with The Descent, which we've covered on the podcast. Mm-hmm. 2 kick-ass horror movies, one with an all-female cast, one with an all-male cast, and just kind of diving into a single gender of creature feature. So kind of complementing each other a little bit. So there's a little bit more pettiness in the Descent with the female characters. And there's not a lot
when
of
we
that.
Start our own like streaming service for all the episodes that we do, we'll pit those next to each other and curate that list.
Yeah, that might be not all I have other than This movie's fucking great. You talked about the sombrero, so got the most important thing out of the way.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. I was gonna say, so where is this in the John Carpenter filmography? Is it right before? Do you know, like, what came after this? 82. That's
Well, this is
pretty.
82. So
Yeah.
Halloween, Assault and Precinct is 76. Love Assault. Halloween's 88. The Fog is 80. Escape from New York is 81. The
Wait a
Thing
second. Halloween is 80.
No,
8?
78. 78.
78. Yeah. So this comes after.
Yep. 78.
Okay.
And then his 3-year run, which is fucking incredible. 80 with The Fog, 81 Escape from New York, and then 82 The Thing. What a fucking in 3 years, you have those 3 movies come out. Fucking incredible. Christine.
The Fog, by the way, is such a great film. I watched that recently. I think that's last year. And then I also watched it again this year. That's such a great one in his filmography that I think is a little, I don't think people.
No, it's definitely on the bottom.
They don't
not the bottom, but like I mean, the other ones overshadow it. But it's definitely one that's gained a fan base far more in recent years. So, and I completely agree with you. That movie's a fucking absolute classic. Christine, Starman, Big Trouble in Little China in 86. Prince of Darkness 87. They Live 88, which we will cover someday. And is it right that you've never seen They Live?
Oh, I've seen it, and it's on Criterion as of today.
I thought you told me you hadn't seen it.
So, no, I've seen it.
Okay, nice.
Come on, dude. I was a wrestling fan. I love Roddy Piper.
Beautiful. I love to hear it. And then, a little kind of fell off. He had a hard time in 1992 when he met his match in Hollywood with Chevy Chase, and they made Memoirs of an Invisible Man. And this is the movie that Carpenter notoriously has always been like, yeah, that's kind of the movie that broke me, where I was just like, I've kind of become not the artist that I used to be a little bit. It was because it was just such a fucking difficult shoot for him. He hated working with Chevy Chase. Everything about it was just a struggle for him. And so he always kind of points out, he's obviously continuing to work. He's a musician. I think he's playing near you, performing his scores coming up in Halloween. So he's still a working man. I love him. But that was the movie he always kind of referenced where like, yeah, that was a turning point to my career because it was such a difficult shoot for it.
Why does everybody fucking hate Chevy Chase? I mean, seriously, like I don't hear anybody say anything good about him.
I've never met him, so I'm not going to make comments. But yes, it seems like a lot of people have not been enhanced in life after crossing paths with him. So 94, In the Mouth of Madness, which I love. Village of the Damned, Christopher Reeve. Escape from LA in 96, which like I said, it was kind of one of those movies where I learned what a director does. So like watching that and kind of putting it together, that John Carpenter is the man that made Halloween, The Thing, Escape from LA. So really kind of like helping me with my understanding of what a director does. And I have the hot take. So there's an interview with Bong Joon-ho, director of Parasite, when he's talking with John Carpenter. He famously said, because it's gone viral, that he definitely likes Escape from LA better than Escape from New York. And I'm in agreement with him. And I love Escape from LA so much. And Escape from New York is far more serious film. John Carpenter notoriously has said that like he originally wanted the vibe of Escape from LA to be what those movies are. Like that's he knows it has its problems. Like it's technically it's a struggle of a movie for sure, but the vibe, which is far more similar to kind of like a Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, a little more fun.
Yeah, way more fun. The original is very serious. It's got a little bit of comedy for sure, a little bit of stuff, but the vibe. And
it's got Donald Pleasance, of course,
for sure. The vibe of LA is what he originally kind of wanted for those movies, and so that's why he kind of likes that one. But Bong Joon-ho liking LA over New York that's why that clip has gone viral, because so many people for so many years have been like, man, I love Escape from New York, but LA is a piece of fucking shit. And ever since I was a kid, I'm like, LA fucking rules, dude. I mean, any movie where Kurt Russell is surfing with Peter Fonda, chasing Steve Buscemi in a pink Cadillac. How is that not even if it's dog shit movie on paper, it still has to be a fucking kick-ass movie. So
well said. I couldn't have said that better myself.
It's so fucking fun. Like,
okay, well, so we're at 96 with this film. Then what happens after that?
You got Vampires with James Woods, which I like a lot. Vampires, that's a true Western. Like, that's an underrated movie in his filmography. So
the great James Woods, who's never said anything political in his life. Go ahead.
He's pretty hardcore leftist, isn't he?
You're joking, right?
Maybe. I don't pay attention to politics. I just watch the movies, so I know James Woods kicks ass in Vampires. So, love that. Ghost of Mars in 2001.
Ghost of Mars is added to the Criterion channel as well.
Is it
I've
really?
never seen it, so yeah.
That's one that a lot of people think is a piece of shit.
Is Ice Cube in that?
Ice Cube, Natasha Henstridge, Jason Statham, early one for him. Pam Grier, Clea Duvall from The Faculty, and Joanna Cassidy, the mom from 6 Feet Under, and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Great actress. Fun movie. I think it's fun. It is kind of a piece of shit, but it is fun. So
added to Criterion Collection for some reason. I think there's a 2000s horror section, and I don't think it's. I think it's kind of bridges the gap because it's in the John Carpenter and the 2000s.
Very 2000s, so it definitely lines in that. And then his last theatrical movie, 2010, starring the great piece of shit Amber Heard, The Ward, which it's the only John Carpenter movie I've never seen. I still have never watched it. So
2010. Jesus, you think he'll ever make another one?
No. He's been like begrudgingly against making another movie for a long time. Unless something changes, like he's so happy being retired and playing video games and just making music. And I'm fine with that. I mean, I've sent you clips. The 2 times that I've seen him perform, I probably saw him perform in maybe 2000. This is around like the early 2010s. So a couple times when he was doing his tours, when his first albums were coming out. Seeing him perform his scores and his original compositions have been like 2 of the best concerts I've ever been to in my life. So
damn.
I absolutely love that he's just kind of a full-time musician now. I was just thinking the other day, I'm ready for a rewatch of the Halloween movies, and Halloween Kills. His score for Halloween Kills, the middle one of the newest trilogy, fucking rules. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, that's my least favorite of those, but I want to see it again. I couldn't remember,
dude.
If I'm going to like it again, I want to revisit. I've
almost done a 180 on that trilogy, the David Gordon Green trilogy. It was originally watching it, I was loving the original, the first one, the 2018, being okay with Kills, and then not really liking Ends. I'm almost like, on my last rewatch about a year ago, 100% flip. Ends is probably my favorite, and Kills is pretty close behind it. And now the original, the 2018, is kind of my third. It's
shocking.
I'm shocked myself. Like,
I like Ends. I like Ends. I just, the middle one was like always the least favorite, but I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and I noticed it's not on your Amazon, so I couldn't watch it. But
it's the most grindhouse of the trilogy. It's like, it is not aiming for anything other than like a fucking grindhouse horror movie. Like, it just looks good. Like I said, the score from Carpenter, especially on Kills, is fucking fantastic. It's just kind of the dirtiest one, and it just, I don't know, on this last rewatch of that trilogy, like, it moved way up. So
yeah,
I don't know, that whole trilogy and just in general, except like I said, what the 2018 one does, like, is just less impressive now upon seeing it. I loved it at the time, and just kind of the story is just like, I'm not nearly as impressed as I was when it first came out. So that's why it's probably my third favorite of the trilogy now. So
gotcha.
Any other John Carpenter stories you want to tell?
No, but I mean, like I said, Big Trouble in Little China is by far my favorite.
Oh, we'll definitely cover it one day. So
yeah, I mean, It just has it all, man. Like, and it's like you're saying, like the whole idea of Escape from LA. That's like the fun of it is like seeing Kurt Russell be his most Kurt Russell, and I think he like that is like the quintessential what you want. That's why it's almost like you're going to Tombstone and you see him later on, and you're kind of like, wow, but this guy's fucking Jack Burton. You know, it's like he's so good in that role that it's almost like you couldn't see him in any serious roles afterwards. Not the case, of course. I mean, I love him in Tombstone, but
Breakdown we'll watch one day. So
yeah.
Breakdown's a hugely underrated 90s thriller that I've always loved since 97. So that was the kind of the 1-2 punch that I was like, Kurt Russell's the greatest. I saw Escape from LA when it first came out in 96 and then Breakdown in 97. I was like, I got to watch all Kurt Russell movies now. So
not giving up though, dude. I mean, Bone Tomahawk, anybody, you know?
We've talked about it. We haven't covered it, right?
No, we haven't covered it. I'm afraid to watch that movie again, to be honest with you.
That's the best kind of movie. The ones you're afraid to watch again.
I'm loving this and having a great time watching Bone Tomahawk, and then the ending comes up, and you're like, "What the fuck, man?" You know. That was a recommendation from you, I think, before we were doing the podcast.
I remember you texting like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Well, I love it, but you know, it's one of those ones you're not ready to see that scene again. That's for sure.
Yeah. Hey, ask Craig Zahler. We watched Dragged Across Concrete,
which is one of our top watched episodes, by the way.
I know. I've been wanting to cover his other movies with us. Bone Tomahawk, and then the Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, that's like
Cell Block 99.
Yeah,
oh, it's so good. It
was on Netflix fantastic. For a while.
Oh, so good. We'll definitely get to him. All right. Any closing thoughts on John Carpenter's?
No, I'm glad to cover it, man. I'm glad. I know how much you love this movie. I know how much you love John Carpenter, and I know this is a big deal to you. So you're not wrong. This movie is so fucking good. Everybody that is listening knows that. There's nobody that doesn't like this movie. If they don't like it, they're lying to them. So it's like saying I don't like the Beatles. It's like, well, you're just lying. You're just like a liar, you know? This movie is great. It's got so much to give you. It's a perfect movie to start our Halloween month of 2025. And episode 80, by the way. It's perfect.
Episode 80. We're going to be basking in 80s practical effects and gore all month. So
October 1st, 80s film. Number 80, the universe aligned. That's for sure.
That's why you're the artist, man. You just catching all these nuances. All right, we'll move on. Wait, quick question. What's the Scissors song that starts with the Big Trouble quote?
We in a room, no windows, a few skeletons. Yeah. It's called Guidelines.
That's the name of the song?
Yeah. Oh no, it's called
I've heard it multiple times in the years. The name of it is
in this place. Watch my reflection, watch it bleed. Watch it bleed. Wait.
No, that's not it. Once you say it, I'll remember it.
Yeah.
I should do this every episode.
No, it's called The Grounding.
Grounding. That's it.
It's called 100%. The Grounding. It's about a kid being grounded and is stuck in his room.
Great song.
Great song.
I always associate it because I know it opens with a Jack Burton quote. So,
well, there is a song that opens that record that I'm going to be. That's my song of the week. Because we're starting. I'll just say it now, and we can add it later. But we're starting Halloween. Right with episode 80, The Thing. And I thought, what better than one of my and I just wanted to talk about it for a second. One of my favorite movies for the time of year is Dracula with Bela Lugosi. And yes. And that, like, one of the things that I don't know if a lot of people know, because it came on the DVD this way, that there's a score by Philip Glass. You could watch Dracula with that score, and that to me is the best way to watch Dracula, with that Philip Glass score. The old way is cool too, but you know, it's really, really deep and dark with the Philip Glass score, and I love watching the film with that. And so in that record you're talking about, the Scissors record, we start it off with the the song Dracula, the first song with Philip Glass and the Kronos Quartet to start the song Control. It's like,
Yep. Oh, I definitely remember that vividly. Yeah, I've heard it multiple times. I don't think I've ever actually watched that version of Dracula then with that score.
Oh man, yeah. If you, I don't know where. I guess you'd have to have the DVD. You probably do, but yeah, that's the where you, because it's just like a commentary. You can switch the soundtracks. Yeah,
I might have to look for online because I don't have the DVD. I might have to look at it because that sounds awesome. Because I know I haven't seen the original Dracula in a long time, but I'm pretty sure I've never seen that version with that score.
I hope so if you put this on the playlist, great. And you can hear it, of course. But there's a whole record here, the Philip Glass Kronos Quartet Dracula, and it's looks like 26 songs. Came out in 1999. And it must have accompanied like a 2000 version of the DVD. So look for that. And I wouldn't listen to the score before you watch it with the movie, because it's great. And I just think I want you to experience it with the score.
It's awesome. Love it. Mm-hmm. Anything else you watching? Anything else exciting in your life right now?
Yeah. So I went and there was 4 years of the Academy Museum over here, and they had a free day. I was just like wanting to go see the Jaws exhibition. So 50 years since Jaws has been out.
Oh, fuck yeah.
One of the most perfect movies ever made. We all know that. And I was excited. From what I was seeing, Spielberg brought everything to the exhibit. And I've been to a couple of these before. I got to see the Godfather exhibit, which was incredible. And then they also did one on the Wizard of Oz. I think those are the only ones I've seen so far that have been at the Academy Museum. All three of them knockouts, just incredible. This one was really, really special. And I was looking online. It was Sunday, and I was like, we got to go. I was a member, but then funds were tight and I didn't have a membership, and I was ready to pay the $25 admission. And then I found out it was 4 years ago that they opened their doors that Sunday. So they were doing free admission for everything. And so we went and we saw it. And man, they've got like the buoy that the Chrissy from the beginning holds on to. It's in there. Yeah.
I just watched it like a week and a half ago to kick off like Halloween season because I just wanted to. So I think last Friday night I just watched it, and the movie gets better every single time I watch it. So.
It gets better every single time. I mean, They got the Quint's machete. They've got the cage. They got the fucking cage there. They have a little thing where you can figure out how to do the anime. I just posted a video on my YouTube of the event. So if you wanted to see it, it's like a little, what it looks like in there. But just in general, that was really, really fun, exciting for a movie. A fan of the movies, you will absolutely love it. If you're in Los Angeles, you got to go and check it out.
It's awesome.
And then we've talked about it behind the scenes, but Paul Thomas Anderson does have a little movie that just came out called One Battle After Another. And I went and saw that at the Vista Theater over here, one of 3 theaters that are playing it in VistaVision, which to me is a big deal because I love Vertigo, which was also originally played in VistaVision.
I was confused at the 8 or 9 different versions that you could watch that it's coming out on. Like there was
Dolby, Music Box IMAX. By You has it in 70 millimeter, which I'm sure is,
That's where I saw it. I saw it in 70 millimeter. I saw something where there was 8 or 9 different versions of VistaVision, Dolby. It was even for a cinephile like me, I'm like, I didn't know there's this many different formats.
Well, he had a great thing that he wrote. He added himself to Instagram in September, and he's basically the movie's done. And if you're a fan of the films, film in general, there's ways for you to see it. VistaVision, which hasn't been shown since One-Eyed Jackson 61. So nobody has seen VistaVision since the 60s. Whoa. This was made specifically to be in VistaVision, and it's obsolete, right? But it also is so cool that the Vista, I waited in line for an hour and a half to get, because it's sold out. It's sold out all week. It's sold out all weekend. I was in the theater with Jack Black's son was there. It was cool. Tarantino was there watching. I don't think
At your screening?
I don't think at my screening. I think the screening right after mine. He came in and watched the film at his theater.
Yeah. Beautiful.
DiCaprio was there with Paul Thomas Anderson to kick it off. I don't know if you saw that thing, but that's at the Vista. It was the perfect crowd of cinema fans. Can't have your cell phone out. You can't have any of that shit. Everybody laughing at it's a funny movie, and everybody laughing at those parts and shocked at the parts they should be shocked at. Sean Penn was off his fucking ass. DiCaprio off his ass. Benicio del Toro off his ass. The ladies in the film off their ass. Everybody, Tana Taylor, these. I wasn't really familiar with like some of the actors and other than the big names, and I was blown away by how everybody performed in this movie. And I know that you weren't as ecstatic about it after first watch. It's not that I have to almost remove myself because I saw it in like the perfect conditions. You know what I mean? Like with cinephiles in the entire audience and of one of the coolest old vintage theaters in the world. Like I could not have seen it in a better way. So I almost want to see it again, like outside of that, like maybe some, I don't even think you could see this digitally. Maybe you can, but that's what Paul Thomas Anderson was saying. He's like, everybody knows it's better like on film. So go see it on film. What was your experience like?
Yeah, I mean, my crowd was, I saw it on a Saturday morning at the Music Box, so in 70mm, one of the few places playing it in 70mm, apparently. So crowd was definitely into it. On a technical level, it is. I mean, it's a Paul Thomas Anderson. You can't not make a fucking great movie. DiCaprio doing kind of a Big Lebowski, essentially, a Big Lebowski type character, kept me going through the whole time.
Super funny though, right? Wouldn't you say?
That's what I mean.
That
was kind of the highlight for me. And the performances were great. I mean, like as I mentioned, I texted you. It's like it's been a overhyped movie for sure. So, and I think there has been a little bit of an overhype that may cool off, but we'll see. So,
well, I don't really I didn't really read in, as we both don't really watch too many, trailers or spoilers or anything before we go to the theater to see anything. And I had heard a little bit about politics, but I didn't hear a lot about it. So I didn't really watch it with that lens. Clearly, there's a lot of, similarities.
I didn't watch it with that lens either.
But I'm just saying that I think that people are talking about it that way. But I didn't really go into it thinking it was going to be like any kind of a political film or anything like that.
We'll see. I mean, the best movies marinate well. So,
I'm also
like Licorice Pizza. I'll watch it again and give it another chance.
I'll give all of those films another chance, even though I don't really, it's like I like to shit on movies because it's like, okay, if he has two movies that I don't like, they're still better than most people's movies in general, and every other movie he's made is a masterpiece.
It's the Bob Dylan effect. His worst output is still better than most other people's output.
Yeah, you're a huge Dylan fan, so
rightfully so.
I would also just say I'm a huge fan of the Conjuring universe. Are you? We don't really talk. We don't really talk much about it.
I like.
Why is that shocking?
I just never really heard you talk about him that much. And,
huge fan.
Really? Okay.
Just like the Scream series, like all the Scream movies I love.
I just watched the James Wan film, actually, the Kevin Bacon Death Sentence, which I thought was fucking great. But I love James Wan. He actually has a movie. I want to cover Malignant one day. But,
never seen.
Yeah, it's a great movie. But
I know he's huge in the horror genre.
I like The Conjuring, so that's,
there's like a universe.
I haven't watched all of them, so
yeah. So that's the thing is like there's the Annabelle movies that are in there, and then also the Nun movies. Right. All of them are great in my opinion.
And I love Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, and they just had one out right now, right?
Yes. So I went and saw that at Universal City Walk, which was fun.
Nice.
Because everybody's going to the City Walk right now because it's Halloween and everything. It's got that already going for horror nights, and it was just fun, seeing it there. And then I've been to the theater a few times, and man, I gotta tell you, just like everybody who knows, going to theater fucking rules.
I'm not going to argue with it. How would you rank theater etiquette? You're going to the Vista, so
the Vista,
that's different. That's different. We're not talking like Music Box or Vista. I'm talking like AMC.
AMC, horrible.
Yes, okay.
Absolute
at least we're on the same page.
Garbage. So. And people that are there are literally like the person who sat down next to me, fucking tray of the biggest buttered popcorn you can have.
Okay.
But that's not all.
Food, so
chicken tenders. Yeah. Anyone? Here's a fucking huge thing of chicken tenders. And then they both have Slurpees. Fucking God knows why. Pizza. Why? Jesus Christ. I mean, I expected it because I went there, but that's the thing. That's why I love going to the Vista or New Beverly. It's like none of that shit. None of that bullshit. I cannot. What I mean, is this what you're experiencing out there in the world of AMCs too?
You're basically projecting what's been in my brain for years right now. So I want you to clip this reel and put it on social media because somebody needs to stand up for all these chicken wings eating people at the movies. So because I cannot stand sitting in a movie and hearing people eat chicken wings, and it's just fucking trash.
Well, mine was chicken tenders. I don't know if they have drumsticks by you or whatever. I have yet to experience that. It's like when you go on a plane, and somebody sits down with you with a gigantic fucking pizza box. It's like you're on a goddamn plane.
Yeah.
The whole place smells like fucking pepperoni and, sausage. Like, really? They're flying through the air with no ventilation. Get the fuck out of here.
I feel really proud that I've been able to elicit this rant from you because I'm on the same page and I like hearing you fired up about it. So.
Well, maybe the thing is that I went and saw The Conjuring like a day before I went to the Vista, and I was like, this is night and day,
Yeah, totally. So I will be keeping my AMC because they do have. So they have the Dolby screen at River East downtown here in Chicago, which is, we don't have a technical IMAX anymore here in Chicago. So the Dolby at River East is kind of the best big screen like in the city. And their
membership, that one. It's great. That's great. Yeah.
The screen is great on a technical level. It's great. I do have their membership because the membership is actually really good. It's $25 a month for 4 movies.
Four movies, right? Yeah.
No surcharges of anything. You're allowed to like one movie at River East is already $23. So you have to use it just once a month for it to be worth it. So on a membership level, AMC is kicking ass. And so I do want it for access to that one screen. So I will be keeping that. So, but yes, I agree with you. I will be going to that Dolby screen this weekend, actually. So The Way of Water is coming back to theaters for 1 week to celebrate 78 days until Avatar Fire and Ash comes out. So I'm really hoping, I'm waiting in the mail for you to send me that big cardboard cutout of Fire and Ash that you sent me. So
over the weekend at the theater I was at to see The Conjuring, they had this big setup for the new Avatar. And as if you're an avid listener,
beautiful. So.
He cannot wait for the fucking new Avatar.
Neither could you.
He's got to have a countdown every time we do one of these podcasts. So we're getting very, very dangerously close to the new Avatar. And I know Patrick is excited. I sent him a little pic of me having a nice sip of my soda in front of the new Fire and Ash stand-up. And yeah, that would look good in your place. That's true.
Imagine that, like right here.
Yeah, I don't want to see it every time we do these. So, that's why I'm not sending it. But by the way, I wanted to just say, VHS, horror, and sci-fi, that little sign you've got back there, you've had that now since you've been building your collection up again. Perfect for this episode on the thing,
I found that at a flea market here in Chicago. There's a flea market held in like a parking garage. So it was like 4 stories of just like a pop-up Saturday flea market with like random purveyors around Chicago. This would have been like maybe 2008 or 9. So I don't know like what video store in Chicago is from, but it is a real
legit
sign.
Right.
Yeah, it's a legit sign that I would have been renting the thing back in the day from my video store. So
cool.
I've held on to that. I love that thing so much. So
yeah, it's great. Your collection is looking really great too. I mean, I know you've been building it back up, and one day we should probably do an episode where you just like kind of do a cruise through, all the things you've got there?
I've been making some plans for some like exposure to this on social media. So,
Oh yeah, no shit.
Yeah, we might do something to kind of fold out the collection, give a little more exposure. So, but yeah, I've definitely, I've talked about this a little bit. Yeah, Mike, I'm definitely focused on the curation of like, I don't want to own a movie unless I can say I fucking love that movie. So that's kind of the difference between like my obsessive like kind of collection back in my early 20s, which I've definitely eliminated from my strategy. It's like I have no desire to like just collect any movie whatsoever. I just like, as long as I absolutely love the movie, that's the one I'm gonna hold. So that's why where it's at right now is pretty close to complete and move.
It's a good tactic.
There, so yeah.
Well, hey, I can't wait.
It's definitely easy to get into I just want to hoard everything as a collector for physical media because there is so much great stuff, but you end up buying like special editions of movies that you don't really give a shit about.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like one day when I do kind of go through like whatever I have at my brother's place, I'm sure there's a bunch of bullshit that I bought. Well, not really. I never really bought stuff that I didn't care about, but it might be stuff that I've just kind of grown away from that I like thought I liked back then or something, and now I don't. So maybe there's that.
I mean, we can talk a little physical media here. I got just a couple more things. I showed you this. I had a great time watching The Wolfman.
Dude, I
love this movie. So
I told Marion, I'm like, I saw it back in the day. It was the first time I went to one of those dine and drive movies where like you go in and like it was a Valentine's Day thing. So me and my buddy Tom, we took our dates and it was like for Valentine's Day somehow that movie was out.
I do remember it like a February movie.
Yeah, and it was like so bad. So like the fact that you're telling me that the director's cut is vastly better, like I looked for it the other day to see if it was online somewhere and it's not.
So I don't want to overhype it too much. It just is so it's Joe Johnston. He directed like The Rocketeer. He directed Jurassic Park 3. He directed the first Captain America, the MCU one. So he's been a working like kind of like a mainstream, almost Spielberg kind of director. So very established, very good director. The thing is like he just went for an old school 30s Wolfman vibe with this movie. And when it came out, I was just not on board with it. I 100% agree with you. I saw it in theaters and I close to hated it. Like I thought it was a piece of shit too. But kind of over the years, getting on vibe with like kind of where he kind of wanted the movie to kind of feel. I just wasn't on board with it at the time, but I kind of get it more now. And the director's cut is like a good 25 minutes of an additional footage of just letting you sit with the Gothic theme because it's a fucking gorgeous movie. It has the Gothic vibes of the original. It just looks beautiful, and yeah, it has much more room to marinate, and it's just become like I think a great remake of the Wolfman. So if you really kind of take a step back of like the era that it came from, which is a little CGI heavy. There's still like practical effects with Rick Baker. If you take a step back and kind of view it as like a true kind of like Gothic horror movie, I think it's actually fucking great. So,
well, cool. I mean, I want to rewatch it because I didn't give it a chance back in the day because I hated it. But I mean, yeah, I know you don't want to overhype it, but you liked it enough to be like the director's cut is the shit, you know?
It's a good hangout movie because it looks beautiful at all of it and great performances. I think Benicio del Toro, speaking of, I mean, he's great as the Wolfman. Anthony Hopkins hams it up big time as his father.
Del Toro kind of looks like Lon Chaney Jr., you know? Yeah.
Emily Blunt, Hugo Weaving as the detective. He's awesome in it. So, yeah, I think it's definitely underrated. So, but I don't know. Maybe you'll still think it's a piece of shit. So, last physical media, I sent you this. After we watched 25th Hour, my first instinct was to watch Edward Norton as the Hulk. And so this is my awesome Target special. Oh shit, it's upside down. DVD of The Incredible Hulk starring Edward Norton. So this is the height of DVDs when bullshit like this was just the norm. This was standard issue. Stupid shit that's awesome like this is what we got.
So wait, is that an original or is that is that a newer version?
No, that came out like when the movie came out, like 2009.
So is that like a used copy?
I mean, I bought it used a long time ago, so yeah. I know you're jealous right now, so.
I don't like. I remember just like a lot of fuckery with that. Eric Bana at one point was the Hulk. At one point, Mark Ruffalo was the Hulk. Edward Norton, like I couldn't keep up with it, but
well, you got all three right there. So the 2003 Ang Lee movie, that was the Eric Bana. That's a great Hulk movie. The MCU started with Edward Norton as the Hulk, and then Edward Norton was like, "You guys are being way too mainstream with these movies," so he fucked off, and then they got Mark Ruffalo to play the Hulk. That's the short and sweet story of it. The Ang Lee one's awesome. I like the Edward Norton one too. So,
gotcha.
That's my whole story about the Hulk. So, yeah. Physical media spotlight. So
great looking DVD case.
Love it.
Well, you got a
that's all I got.
Song of the week that you wanted to. I did mine early.
Okay, so wait, what was the name of it? Are you calling it like the whole score? Philip Glass Dracula 99 score?
No, I'm just do the first one because that's the one that we used for the scissors thing.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
Whole
so
score
it's sound
would be like adding,
it's going to sound
whatever
like it is on your CD. So
that's correct.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I do need to watch that. That's so.
Yeah, I hope you can find it.
I went to see over the weekend the Ravenettes, garage rock band from the 2000s, still working today, that I've always liked. They played the Bottom Lounge. It's become like a great venue, but I've seen a lot of great shows.
Oh yeah.
Saw Marky Ramone there, saw the Hives. Always good time. So the Ravenettes, garage band I've always enjoyed since the early 2000s, and they had their 20th anniversary of Pretty in Black, one of their albums from 2005. So awesome time to see them. I always thought they were a pretty underrated band in the garage rock era. You had the Strokes.
I'm not too familiar.
You had the Strokes, you had the White Stripes, the Hives back in the day, and the Strokes and the Hives and the Ravenettes were kind of always my three favorite. The Ravenettes kind of started off with like a very 50s heavy kind of vibe. Pretty in Black has a lot of like 50s inspired rock and roll. Ronnie Spector even shows up on the album itself. And then after that in 2007, which has a song that I'll be taking off of here, they leaned a little bit more into the shoegaze garage rock kind of vibe. I know you're a fan of Beach House. If Beach House was a garage rock band, that's kind of like a good way to describe the Ravenettes and kind of the direction they've gone since like 2007. So, well,
cool. I'm definitely pumped to hear this. The song you're going to pick then.
Dead Sound is the song I'm going to put off. This on the 2007 album Lust. It's a great song. It's not the one I'll put on, but it starts off with Allie Walk With Me, and it sounds 100% straight out of a David Lynch movie.
I was just about to say, I love that like I'm Waiting Here song you put on here. So not that that's garage rock, but yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that one's great. But yeah, the Alley Walk With Me is a clear reference to Fire Walk With Me, but the Ravenettes in general have always had a David Lynch vibe. They've always been clear fans.
Well, that's got the Beach Housey thing. It's like a little dreamy kind of sound.
Yes, very much. So this whole album has a lot of David Lynch vibes, but Dead Sound is the song I will be putting on the playlist, which I was listening to the other day. Man, what a great just a default playlist to put on. It's because it's getting to the point where there are a lot of songs where I totally forget that they're on now. It's like, so it's pushing. It's not always clear like what's going to come up next or always unexpected. So,
well, we have 80 episodes, but we didn't necessarily start adding songs probably until, I don't know, well into this podcast. So, but adding one from me and adding one from you, that it adds up. Like there's a lot of songs in there now.
We got a lot of good music, still a lot more to come. So nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
Kick ass. Anything else want to talk about?
We had a nice, robust conversation here. We're approaching one of our longest episodes, and
up to 2 hours. So.
Yeah, well, I love it. I mean, last week with the Stone Age wasn't as robust.
Yeah, but the more I've been thinking about, I listened to some of the episodes. That movie is fucking great. It is a time capsule of its time, and I totally get that a lot of people like it. And I saw some comments. Friend of the show, Don, was definitely digging on it, so I 100% get why that's a adored movie. So
it's got its moments, and it's definitely got its place, I'm sure, in the nostalgia for a lot of people who saw it back then. It's just a different movie in the 2025 era, But I'm glad we covered it.
That's the beauty of our podcast. We're gonna zig when you think we're gonna zag. So
yeah, and vice versa.
Yeah. Keep it going.
All right, my man. Well, hey, happy October 1st. Happy 80th episode to you. It's quite the feat. And we'll be back here with it looks like we're going to be doing The Fly next, yeah?
A little Cronenberg action remake of the Vincent Price classic. So I'm sure you'll have some stuff to talk about with that too. So very much looking forward
to the always entertaining Jeff Goldblum.
He is the Fly for a reason. No, I'm just thinking of that part where we talked about in the history of violence that there was a reference to the Fly in it, and so we'll dive into that. So plenty of
everything's connected, huh?
Everything is connected, just like Magnolia. Let's go watch Magnolia someday soon.
I did watch it the other day. It fucking blows my mind every time I see it. It's such a good movie.
Prepped you up for PTA. Yeah. I would put that in the top 3.
Agreed.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, I don't want to rank right now at the end of the episode because I have to think about it a little bit. But we got Boogie
5.
Nights up there.
Definitely,
we got Magnolia. Yeah,
fuck. I mean, for me,
Punch-Drunk Love. Get the fuck out of here. There's a lot.
I can do a quick and dirty one right now. Just top. It's definitely Boogie Nights #1. There Will Be Blood. Maybe Magnolia, but then definitely Phantom Thread.
I know Phantom Thread is up there too.
It's crazy that
people. It's crazy that people don't like that film. There's a lot of people that don't like Phantom Thread. I think that's one of his best.
That's easily in the top 4 for me.
Yeah,
that for sure. So,
well, all right.
Maybe we'll do an official one ranking sometime soon. So.
Hey, we got a lot of movies to cover before we die. We're only at 80.
Let's keep it going. All right, brother. Thank you for indulging me in one of my all-time favorites. I appreciate it.
Anytime. This was a treat for me. So great to talk to you about The Thing from 1982. And we'll be back here next week, in 2 weeks with The Fly.
All right, brother. Talk to you then.
See you later.